All right, gang. This lesson is on your happy gut, stress, and the nervous system. I know you tend to hear nervous system often and stress management often. It can be very broad, it can be complicated. However, when we take a step back and just think about what are the small, tiny actions we can incorporate throughout our day consistently that are low effort, that provide a high return on investment? Meaning, where can we take a top down, meaning mind, and bottom up, meaning body approach to managing our stress? Because stress directly affects our gut microbiome, and our gut and our microbiome directly affect our mood. It's a two-way street. They signal one another. That's just how it goes. Because you can think of a stressful situation where your stomach and your gut and your intestines was just a wreck, whether it be diarrhea, constipation, pain. And so, what we want to do to make our microbiome happy is manage our stress. And that can be complex, but I'm just going to go over a few broad concepts today. And then we're going to talk about how we can distill it down to what we can do every day. So, number one, connection with others. And this is a great idea from Dr. Amy Shaw, who just explains the evidence and the phenomenon. When we connect with others, we humans are meant to exist in a group, in a tribe. When we connect with others, we release oxytocin. Oxytocin is a hormone. It is the hormone of love and connection. That oxytocin goes on to bathe our cells in goodness and help to regulate cortisol. Cortisol is our body's natural on waking hormone. Cortisol is not bad. Cortisol protects us in the short term. Cortisol turns on during good or bad stress. So, good stress could be something like exercise, bad stress, or whatever you proclaim as bad, could be something like traffic or maybe a rude person or a stressful interaction. Cortisol is meant to turn on when we are performing, like if we're giving a public speech, when we have to concentrate, when we're in danger, especially think about back in the day running from the lion, today when we just have to make a quick decision. So cortisol is meant to protect us in the short term. It sends all these chemicals throughout our body that helps us to survive. Now, what the problem is, when we are not in a state of something is going to kill us, and our body can still see stressful situations, stressful people, environments as sort of a survival mode, and the cortisol is not able to come back down to baseline. Cortisol elevated even slightly over a long term tends to wear down at our tissues. It weakens our immune system. It weakens our gut microbiome. It affects our sleep. It affects our digestion. It affects our mood. So that is why when they talk about stress management for health, fat loss, weight loss, it's true. We need to learn to manage our stress. Our environment and our culture is inherently stressful, and it's how we also interpret it. Now, going back to hormones, as we age, as we are in perimenopause, menopause, and beyond, our estrogen levels, progesterone, they are changing. They are on the decline, not in a linear fashion, in a wonky fashion. And because these are all hormones, whether they're sex hormones or corticosteroids like cortisol, insulin, estrogen, they are related in an interconnected, complicated cascade. So as our hormone levels shift, as we hit menopause, that also indirectly affects our cortisol balance, and our cortisol has a hard time establishing a healthy balance. It tends to stay elevated and it tends to stay stuck instead of being able to come all the way down to baseline. So that is definitely affected in perimenopause and menopause, and it's why a lot of us experience middle of the night waking, is that our cortisol, it tends to spike when it's not supposed to. So going back to stress management, what does that mean? Yes, physically we need to recover, so that includes sleep. It basically includes a body that feels safe, a body that is able to exit survival mode, so to speak. So, survival mode is fight or flight. And then rest mode would be parasympathetic, rest and digest. So, things that keep us stuck in that survival mode would be overcommitting, meaning we don't have enough time for the things that we want to do. It would be like not being able to enforce boundaries, not getting enough sleep. Also, our thoughts, right? So, if we want to talk about top down, I like to think of this as top down and bottom up. Top down meaning our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions. That's complicated. We're going to go over more in the nervous system course. You're just going to reference the nervous system course where we're learning to leverage thoughts, beliefs, top down, bottom up, mental and physical tools to manage our stress because stress is not avoidable. So we're going to think about, okay, where can we start top down, meaning our thoughts and our beliefs? What do we believe about a situation? Is something dangerous? Does someone offend us? What do we believe about ourselves? Are we bad or are we learning? Are we stuck or are we able to learn and grow? So that starts with the brain, and then we're going to go bottom up. So physically, how can we remind our body that it is safe? It can get out of survival mode and start to thrive, meaning thrive, including our gut microbiome. So that would be eating foods that nourish our body, that make our body feel nourished. That would be moving our body because our body is meant to move. It's designed to move. And when we sit all day, our body starts to just wear itself down. Movement goes on to diversify our gut microbiome and all the bacteria that live there and make them happy. So exercise is a probiotic. Taking body scans, taking a moment to check in with our body. And that can be done anywhere at any time, sitting at your desk, standing in line, waiting for the kids to finish practice, sitting at the traffic light, just taking a moment to scan your body and remind your body that it is safe. It is not in danger at this very moment. We have to consciously remind our body of that. Dropping our shoulders away from our ears. Women tend to get stuck in a sort of stressful state. So we hold that in our neck, our shoulders, and even in our pelvic floor. So just dropping your shoulders away from your ears, signaling to the body that it is safe. And then breath work. Breath work is the fastest way we are able to signal to our body that we are not in immediate danger. Expansive breaths. So your diaphragm lowers, your belly comes out without having your chest rise. Just 1 or 2 cycles of that. Setting an intention in the morning. What we want to do is we want to be proactive. We cannot necessarily control our day and our environment and what happens to us, but we can be proactive in planning our meals, setting an intention for the day, looking in the mirror and encouraging ourselves instead of bashing ourselves. So we're going to leverage our nervous system, the system that is the ultimate command center of our entire well-being. And we're going to leverage that to remind our gut that it is safe. It doesn't have to be inflamed. It doesn't have to live in survival mode. And by doing that, we're going to leverage connection. We're going to enforce our boundaries. We're going to take time to be bored and rest. We're not going to fill our day with distractions. And we're going to end up scrolling less, limiting alcohol, limiting other toxic substances, including people, or even shifting how we see other people. This is something I'm really passionate about. It's changed my life. It's really helped me have this healthy gut where I sleep better. I feel like I can handle some of those tough conversations that come my way. And I'm less of in avoidance mode and more in just feeling safe to venture out of my comfort zone so that I can learn and grow, so that I can feel better, I can look better, and then I can even pass that down to my loved ones and my kids. Let me know what you thought of this lesson, what you need from me for stress management. And one more thing that I almost forgot to mention, I'm going to drop a nervous system regulating practices menu at the bottom of this lesson. It's just a simple reminder that you can post up or screenshot just to remind yourself that simple practices that take 10 seconds to a minute, done consistently throughout the day, to remind your body that it's safe to exit survival mode and enter thrive mode, including our microbiome. We want it to thrive. And that'll start to help signaling to your body that it's safe. It can start to heal itself. It can start to thrive. It can bathe all of its cells in healthy hormones based on body check ins and our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions. So go ahead and check out that menu below.